Welcome to This is Futbol. Bienvenidos a This is Futbol. We're here with you again, another episode. It's not a Friday, guys. It's not a Tuesday. It's a Thursday. But
Special
we have
Thursday.
a
Doesn't
special
matter.
Thursday.
Doesn't matter. The
Doesn't
ball
matter.
rolls.
Every day is
We
football
roll.
day.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we had some Champions League today. Or sorry, we had some Champions League earlier this week. We had some Europa League today. We got a lot to talk about, but this is an all MLS episode, or as much as we can talk about MLS as we can. This is your MLS 2023 outlook from the This is Football team, or at least half of the team that could make it onto this episode. So, topics that we're going to get into today, really very straightforward. We're going to talk about the MLS. Let's talk about, Wayne Rooney at DC United. He came in late last year as a coach, and he's going to have his first full year as a coach this year. We'll talk about him. Let's talk about the Seattle Sounders. They had a poor showing over at the World Cup. Could this be the end of their golden generation, or what we call their golden generation? We'll talk about some 2023 breakout players that we want to look forward to. We'll make our predictions. Ever, Ranier, and I, and our special guest later in the show will make some predictions on Supporters Trophy, on conference champions, who's going to be the MLS champion, and maybe our Inter Miami predictions as well. And then we'll talk about probably the biggest news that we've come to hear from the MLS so far, probably in the last 20 years, is their big deal with Apple and how they're changing basically their entire platform. All games will now be on the Apple TV platform, and we're gonna have our special guest Tony Cherchi, who is a show host and a match analyst for the MLS, and will be on the Apple network to call some of the games. We'll have him on to talk about that and to talk about the rest of the MLS. So what do you say, guys? Should we get into it?
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's start.
let's do it.
All right, man. So the first question that I wanted to get into, I talked about it at the top of the hour. We talked about it. We saw Wayne Rooney come and play here a couple years ago at DC United. He came over to coach last year after he coached at Derby County over in England. He didn't go so well for him last year. What do you guys think? Do you think he, with a full preseason under his belt, some new players coming in, and really a full season, do you think he'll be able to turn it around?
I think so. To be honest, he came mid-season. Obviously, he knew the club, he knew the city, he knew some of the players. But I think coaches, managers, they need time to get to know their team, prepare. So a good preseason, a good rest from a bad season last year. I think that he's gonna do good, which is not good for us. But I think he's gonna do a lot better now that he gets to know his players.
I don't think he'll turn it around. I don't think DC United is a fit for coaching for whatever Wayne Rooney wants to bring. To be honest, I don't know what Wayne Rooney wants to bring to the table for DC United. You know, I did know what Thierry Henry was trying to do when he came into MLS. Actually, there's a very cool video of him follow up when there was MLS is back in Orlando and trying to do the basics, first touch, this and there. But I don't see exactly what to expect from DC United under Wayne Rooney this season. Last season it was goleada after goleada, bad games, really bad games. And I haven't seen players coming back, any player signing. They'll be like, all right, I think this United's going to bring it, you know? So, uh, will he finish the season? Most likely. We don't see a lot of coaches getting fired in MLS. There's not that type of pressure, European pressure, South American pressure, or any type of pressure into that. There's MLS Open Cup, there's Lamar Hunt Open Cup, there's the MLS regular season, so Leagues Cup coming up that every team has to play. So there's a lot of things in MLS right now for teams to play for, and let's see if at least qualify to play us. It will be a win for Rooney and DC United, but maybe seventh place, sixth place, kind of like getting in there. I'll
Not
make
being
it.
last like last year probably
Yeah,
be
the
an
thing is,
accomplishment.
what players came in and to this United be like, all right, I think this is a team that can go up 10 spots from last, go all the way up. Nah,
Yeah. Yeah,
you know,
and one of our guests actually makes a good point. He says all of Alex Ferguson's pupils are failures as coaches, managers. Look at the Nevilles. It's funny you say that. I have to disagree with Brian. I have to disagree with you, Rolfi, and I have to agree with Ever. I think he's going to turn it around. I think Wayne Rooney is a player who has shown over the years that he's a fantastic player.
Yeah,
From
but
the
good
moment he
player
started.
doesn't make a good coach.
Absolutely, yeah,
I
and
think
I
he did pretty
I
good at
agree
Derby
with you.
County with with the circumstances. That they were bankrupt and they had a lot of issues, and they did pretty well. You
Absolutely,
know.
and that was where I was going with this. Is I think he did a decent job with Derby County while he was there. Not great, but I think this is kind of a fresh start for him. Like Eber said, he knows the club. He played there. He has a star player in Christian Benteke who had a tough time last season, but is hoping to recover. And we'll talk about him later in the show when we talk about some players that we want to see improve this year. But I think he does turn it around. Do they make the playoffs? I'm not sure, but I think I don't think they finish at the bottom of the table. Um, I think maybe they might have a better year than Inter Miami. We'll see. I think it really all depends on that summer transfer window, and it's really hard to predict something right now. Um, but we're doing our best to try to predict. And like I said, I think he's going to turn it around. I think he'll finish just outside the playoffs. Um, but we'll definitely wait and see. So let's talk about we talked about Wayne Rooney. One of the other things I mentioned of the preseason was the Seattle Sounders. The Seattle Sounders went over to Morocco and had a very poor showing in the Club World Cup. Went out in their first game. I'm choosing them as my supporter shield, or sorry, as my conference champions for the Western Conference this year. So that's kind of a little note there, but a
All right.
little preview. But what do you guys think? I mean, I think, like I said, I think they're going to win the Eastern Conference, or sorry, the Western Conference championship, and I think this might be their last run as a team together.
It's a team that's been together for a while with the same head coach for a while. They didn't make the playoffs last year for the first time, and they had a record of appearances for playoffs. Uh, I like the team, but I think they haven't done the recambio generacional, getting new players in. I think they just stick to their base and didn't change it. You see the mistake, and difference apart. I don't want to compare apples to apples here, but Real Madrid, and they trying to transition from Luka Modric, Toni Kroos, Casemiro. They brought players, but they're still holding on to that. I see the same thing happening in Seattle. I love Seattle Center. I think it's a great team. Frey, the Roldan brothers, Rui Diaz, Lodeiro. That's their like core. I think they have to bring in more players. It's a great market. They can sign really good players. They have the power to do it in a way that the project itself is great. Uh, they're CONCACAF Champions League champions. They have to regain battle that title this year. I think they're gonna make it to playoffs. I don't know if they're gonna be uh, they're gonna win their conference, but I think they're gonna have a good run.
To me, to be honest, I think it's going to be Austin. Takes it all the way. Supporter Shields, MLS Cup, everything. Hopefully, I don't know if they played CONCACAF Champions League, but I think Austin, it's a great team, man. It's a great squad. A lot of South Americans, like 3 or 4 Argentinians and Uruguayan. I think they're gonna take it all the way. So I think Austin, it's gonna be my team for this season, other than obviously Inter. But we're gonna get to that in a little bit. But yeah, I think Austin, man, Austin Supporter Shield. I think MLS Cup.
Yeah. No,
Do
well,
we give our predictions, or do we get into our predictions? Because
not yet, because I want
not
to
yet.
wait. I want to
I,
wait for Tony to come in to give our predictions
Evan
because I
is
want
excited.
Tony to
He
give.
wants he
I
wants to
know, I
suck.
know.
Yeah.
Todo de una.
I
Evan,
saw Evan right off
Evan,
the bat.
I
he
know,
wants
I know,
Throw it
he
all
wants
out
the
there.
25th to be here. He wants
I know, I know.
Champions League to be here.
Yeah, I agree. But so I mean, I'll give you my take on the Sounders. They have Lodeiro, Rui Diaz, and João Paulo, which are all over 30. We talked about their poor showing at the Club World Cup. They have a coach who's been with them for a while, Schmetzer, who he's been rumored as a rumor for the U.S. men's national team as one of the outside spots. So I have a lot of faith in him. They have one of the best players in the league, Nico Lodeiro, who I think has been the MVP of the league maybe for the last 3 years. even if he hasn't won it, just by watching the games. I mean, he makes a really big difference for their team, and I do think that this is the last year that they have together as a team before they have to do that generational change that you talked about, Renier. I've tweeted over the last few days and exchanged some comments with some folks on Twitter where I talk about I want to see Inter Miami play a lot of young players or play some more young players from their academy, and that's one thing that Seattle has done over the last few years. You've got a young kid named Obed Vargas who's 16, 17 years old, and he's playing first team minutes with them. I think it was for the Lamar Hunt Open Trophy. But still, I mean, you've got a 16-year-old playing. We can't say that
That's
we
where
have
you
that at Inter Miami.
yeah, that's where you gotta put the players, those young kids to play, man. Those academy players. We talked about it in the chat that we have. You have to bring in the 16, 17, 18, and they have to get those first team minutes. If it's either Lamar Hunt or Leagues Cup or CONCACAF Champions League, if you have an easy game, or if you won by 5 goals in the first leg, second leg you give this kid some minutes. You cannot play 13 players in an MLS season with Leagues Cup and CONCACAF Champions League.
Didn't
And
didn't Seattle play with a few kids, a few games last season because they had some issues. They played. I remember the game against Austin. They played like 5 or 6 under 16s. So and
Yeah,
and, and I think they even either won or tied that game. So
yeah, that's what
uh,
I'm saying. So it's crazy how they can just kind of fit in, these two or three players, where Lodeiro would play, or where you maybe you'd see a Cristian Roldan or somebody like that. You plug in a 16-year-old, and it's almost like no change. And we want to see that from the home team. I think that's what we all want to see from the home team, from Inter Miami. One of our fans makes another comment about Benjamin Cremashi. He says, Ascona looks really nice. I agree. I've been calling for Ascona to get minutes since last year. I really would have loved to see him in that 10 before we brought Pozuelo over. And now that we don't have Pozuelo, I think he's the guy that really should get the minutes there. If not Kremashi. I've heard from some of my inside sources that Kremashi's been having a hell of a preseason. So I'm really excited to see him. He's a young guy that I think that if we put enough investment in him, then we can make a profit out of him at the end. And I think he could be maybe the first homegrown player to be sold by the club, and that would be fantastic. So
hopefully, we discussed today also in the chat, Ascona. It's if you want to see a player have a breakthrough season, you got to give him minutes. You got to give him the experience, the exposure. So you got to put him under pressure. So if Ascona has been there for this is his third season, but he doesn't play 10 games, like 10, 15 minutes a game, obviously he's not going to get that, he's not going to mature like you want him to, at a certain time. Like right now, like Danny said, if we have and that number 10 position open, with a few spots, and give him the chance, throw him, just put him on the field, give him the ball, give him 45 minutes, give him 60 minutes, and see, but don't just put him on 50 minutes and that's it. Like it's been the past few seasons, just give the players, young players, the opportunity.
not only give him that like cap, a couple games here, a couple games there. Bielsa had a really good press conference when he was in Bielsa, being rumored for U.S. men's national team, Mexican team that now has a coach, Diego Coca. But he had a press conference at Athletic de Bilbao, and he said anybody can make young kids, academy players, make it to a first team, have their debuts, their caps, right? But what you do after that first game, that second game, and continue to have him in that first team role, training with the first team, putting into games, last 10, last 15, starting a game, then difference aside and everything, you'll have the United States version of Gavi, the United States version of Pedri, the United States version of maybe Jude Bellingham. Just saying, young players that they're already uh, the strong team in the team. They're a strong player in the team, or captain of the team. Jude Bellingham is 22 and he's already captain of Dortmund. And right now, European markets are looking at US for young players to take. Some players don't even make it to a first team, and they're being sold. But imagine if we have a young group of players coming in this season with all the games with Open Cup, Leagues Cup, some teams playing CONCACAF Champions League. There's a lot of room for players to play, and that's the whole thing. That Bielsa said, you have to give more time. It's not only go in a few minutes. All right, man, congrats, you got your first cap. You're a professional now. But
Right,
no,
right, right. Well, another one of our fans brings up a very good question. I think it's something that we should address. He asked, "Can you better explain why it's so important to sell a player? Don't you really want to keep your talent, considering there's a cap, or is it better to have the money for DPS?" I think it's a little bit different in the MLS and in the rest of the world. In the rest of the world, I think it's kind of like an open market, and so the idea is bring in talent cheap, develop it, and sell it so that you can make a profit off of it. I think in the MLS it's a little bit tougher because of the cap and because of how the structure, the salary structure is. But in my opinion, I think it is important to develop young players and to sell them over to Europe. One, because it shows that your youth academy, can develop these players, and two, that these youth players are going to eventually help your team win some games, and then you're going to end up making some money. So, I mean, I think it's a three. Those three are the three winners.
And also keep in mind that all the players that go to Europe at a young age, they develop a lot better. So that's going to help also the national team. So if you develop a player and then you send them to Europe, obviously you make a profit. Or even if it's a loan, you loan them for a few years, you get them back, or maybe then you sell them to a better team after they developed the way you thought they will, and you make some money, and also you get a much better player for the national team. Because
Yep.
obviously it's not the level that they compete here is not the same as competing in Europe. So that's I think it's a win-win situation there.
Right, right. Even though the club doesn't get the full amount of money, they only get a percentage because a percentage does go to the MLS. I
yeah,
mean, it still does benefit the club, and I think in the long run, it is. I mean, I think that would be the correct structure that at least I would love Inter Miami to do, and I think I've been very vocal about that. Is to have a good system, a good Masia, just like El Barça, or some of those European, El Ajax, who are well known for developing these young players, these exciting players that then we're excited to go out and see and all that. But enough about young player talk. I think really
wait,
what
wait.
we
Let me
all
just give a little thought on that young player
one
talk.
more. Okay,
Yeah, but
okay,
to answer our plans, remember the MLS is like is done in the American way, like the NBA, like the MLB, like I don't know if NHL's like that, but like how American sports association are run. It's all a business. They all get together, and it has to be approved by owners by changing and whatnot. I think what MLS did is like to change that narrative of that we are a retirement league to bring 37, 38, 35, 36 year old players kind of like burned out and get a couple million a season to end their careers. Now we're looking at these young players. Chicago Fire just sold a player to a Premier League for 15, 18 million, so now we're going to look at the with that money that we get that MLS has already. One, develop their young talent, and two, look for young talent in South America to bring him here and then sell him for even more. So you get a player for 5 million, you sell him for 20, you already get 15 up, and that money you can use it for your academy players, play tournaments outside of the US, Ros Internacional. So the USA already has the infrastructure. Is how good you use it and how you use that money that you get from all these big sales are happening nowadays in MLS. We saw right now a few weeks ago when the market closed, MLS was fighting in that top 5, top 10 spots of leagues that sold the most players for the most money, putting aside Premier League because of Chelsea, you know. But I think we're on the right path, little by little, into what the league is. It's not a retirement league anymore. It's a development league for South American talent, and it's a league that little by little is going to bring more more young USA players into a pool for U.S. men's national team. Look, under 17 playing CONCACAF Champions League right now. They have Minor Figueroa's son, who's from Honduras, playing in the
The
U.S.
US.
You know, and these kids, bro, they're flying. They're amazing. The talent is there. Just what you do with that talent, and the infrastructure is there, money's there, and I think with little by little, we're going in the right direction.
And also, once you start developing a few players, you sell a few players to Europe, people are going to recognize you as a developing, team, club, academy. So
Yeah,
it's I think it's good for the exposure. So if we
the
don't
eye
give
is
them the
the eye of the European market is already on you on MLS.
and
You know?
and if we don't give them the opportunity to play consistently, then obviously those players are not going to be seen and they're not going to develop as we want.
exactly, exactly. All right, well, I want to get away from this young player talk. I want to get into something I'm super excited about, something that we've been discussing in our chats, something that's been all over Twitter for the last couple of days. Look, I'm not wearing an Uruguay jersey today. I'm not wearing a Nacional jersey today. I'm not wearing an Inter Miami jersey. I'm wearing a crazy jersey, something I ordered from one of those random websites. It's from Portobello Futbol Club. That's because I want to talk about jerseys. The MLS jerseys
All right.
dropped over the last couple of days,
Who
and
doesn't love a New Jersey, huh?
that's what I'm
It's
talking about.
It's the
And
perfect
so
gift.
it
Large
is.
for whenever
always
you guys want
doesn't
to
matter.
give me one.
It is, and there's so much to talk about. I've seen so many comments all over Twitter. I think Adidas hit it out of the park this year for some teams. I think they completely dropped the ball for some teams. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about your favorites. Let's talk about my favorite, and let's talk about the ones that we don't like. But again, why don't you go first? Let's talk about your favorite.
All right, my favorite. I like it because it went back to a classic look. The team is great too. Great organization, awesome stadium. I love Atlanta United home jersey this season. I think it looks great. Black, red. Uh, it's just clean look. I love it. I love it.
It's a
There's nothing
simple
crazy.
jersey. It
It's a simple
represents the
jersey, but
club.
yeah, and that's the thing about MLS and is doing with Adidas, has always done with Adidas is make it about connect with the local people, and also embrace diversity and whatnot. You see it in all the videos across MLS teams. They want to show that it connects with their fan base. It's not we may not like it, but it's for their fan base, and that's what they're looking for. And I love Atlanta United. Actually, I have one here of Atlanta United. Yeah, I'll show you guys later.
Yeah,
But
we'll
yeah,
have a day where we all wear our random jersey or something.
opening
And
week, man. Opening week.
all right. So next week we'll one of our episodes we'll all wear a random MLS jersey, and we'll see who what jerseys we all have. I collect some myself, so I'll let the fans see what I have. So what about you, Evan? What was your favorite one?
So my favorite jersey that I think will be a great jersey for Inter, I think is the DC United. I think the white DC United jersey, it's an awesome jersey. I think the colors, the combination, everything looks nice. I love logos in front of the jerseys. I think I love national team jerseys. They're simple. They have the number in the front, but I love logos in the jersey. When we had at Inter the jersey without a logo, I think it looked kind of empty. It was missing something. But I think this United jersey is beautiful, beautiful
You
in
like
every
it?
aspect.
You like it, Danny?
The DC United, I do, I like it. I think it really identifies with the city, because it has the cherry blossoms
Cherry
kind
blossom,
of
yeah.
there. So and I think it's fantastic. And like you said, I think really at the end of the day, it's really about identifying with the fan base and
Yeah.
identifying, with who supports you, your supporters. Um,
It,
you know,
re-
and
it reminds me because it's cherry blossom of Japan. It's a Japanese national team too, with their warmer jerseys and whatnot. They go crazy too.
yeah,
And yeah, I like this United. It's a good one. It's not Atlanta, but it's good.
I'm I'm probably gonna go out of left field with mine. Nobody's probably gonna expect this one, but my favorite this year is the new team of the MLS, and that's the St. Louis City kit. I think really it identifies with the city. Again, it's got kind of like that reddish pink. It's really, really, kind of clean. It's got multiple colors. I don't know. I honestly I love it. I think they nailed it, and I wish our team would do something similar to this. I mean, it just goes to show that you can be a new team in the league and make a splash, on day one with the jerseys. I remember Inter Miami's first season, we had a white jersey that was completely plain, looked like a practice jersey, and a black jersey that was kind of plain as well. So, some of these new teams can kind of hit it on the head with them. So let's talk about,
Jeremy, it's tough to get into the identity you want for the team. For a season. It's tough, and Miami has the background of Miami Fusion back in the day. Of the team that make doing so well. So I think it takes a lot of research, a lot of market research, a lot of talk, a lot of analyzing to get the perfect look for your team. Inter Miami will get there. I have good.
well, I have faith because the color scheme is fantastic. I think we have
Yeah.
one of the best color schemes in the MLS. But I have my advice for Inter would be, give the Heat a call. the Heat have a really good guy doing their uniforms. I mean, the vice versa that they had a couple years ago, the vice jerseys were
I would like. I
fantastic.
think it was Smout in the chat. I would like to, or someone. I would like to see some stripes, man. I think, or something like Boca Junior style, like, Rivera here, man, something down the middle, like,
I mean,
Like New
something different.
England, like New England. You want to see the one
no,
from
no,
New
no,
England?
no,
Look like River.
me da frío, me da
You
frío.
know?
So, all right, let's talk about the ones that we didn't like.
All right, I like that. This is the better part of the segment.
Because this is the better topic, right? So let's start with Ever because Rangel, you got to go first last time. So Ever, which one was the one that you liked the least?
And in the chat, everybody was liking this jersey, but I don't. I actually don't like it. I don't like the new Seattle Bruce Lee jersey. I don't know. I don't like it. That photo, for example, it doesn't show exactly how it looks. It's a little more like on the pink side, purple side, and I don't like it. I don't know.
That has socio written all on it,
I know socio, Bruce Lee, but it
He
has
likes
nothing to
those
do with,
colors,
with
yeah.
soccer. It's I don't know. I want to I want something that relate like Danny said that relates to the city, that relates to the people. Like give me the throwing, the fish that they throw at Pike's Market. Give me something with a fish. Don't give me Bruce Lee. Yeah,
Fish across, bro.
I know. Come with a fish, get it. Something like that. Don't give me Bruce Lee. Come on. It's like it's like Philly. If they have Rocky, at least Rocky, it's part of Philly. But Bruce Lee, come on. I don't know. I didn't like it.
All right.
Rangel, which one did you not like out of all of them?
And I like the team, man, because there's a player we have interviewed a lot of times at work, Bedoya. I don't like Philadelphia's away. Bring it up, please. Before I start talking about it, I have to see it again. Yeah, there it is.
I like it, man. I don't know why you don't like it. I like it.
Because, dude, it's The Simpsons. We don't even know which Springfield, The Simpsons, where the city is located. It's not in Philadelphia. Mira, falta The Simpsons ahí. Y arranca.
I don't know, man. I like it, man. I think it's sleek, man. It's nice. It has a little snake up there. I don't know, man.
I wonder how it looks combined with the shorts and the socks. How they're gonna combine it. I wonder how they're gonna make it look because the jersey changes with the uniform you wear.
Right. I mean, if you put white shorts, it looks completely different than if you were
white shorts, black socks.
Right.
White shirt, black socks. I think will be a nice touch.
Yeah. Even like Philadelphia, because it has like a Boca-ish feel to the uniform, the look of it, the home. But I don't get why this one, go all yellow. I don't know, go all blue. There's something behind it. I'll read about it. I'll bring it back next time we come back, and we check one of the games Philly playing against in the MLS season, and let's see.
Yeah, we'll have to give our opinions once we see all the teams playing their uniforms. So, but I want to get my one that I didn't like before we get Tony in here because I see he's in the waiting room waiting to get him on here. So the one I didn't like was the Charlotte one. I don't know. The purple with the pink and the blue. I don't know. To me, it just clashes. It just doesn't look nice. Personally, I love the home jersey more, or the other jersey, the baby blue one, a lot better than this one. But I just didn't really like that one. So. Again, we got some folks down in the comments, talking about Bruce Lee,
your best and your worst.
Yeah, talking about Bruce Lee, but yeah,
we're talking about the jersey.
Your best and your worst.
I don't care if whoever is on the jersey, give me something related to soccer. That's what I want to see.
All right, well, I want to bring in our special guest now because it's about halfway through the show, and he's a really exciting guest, someone that we've been talking to for a couple weeks to get on. We're super excited for him because he's going to give us a lot of insight into the MLS deal with Apple. He's going to be a show host and match analyst for the MLS. He's a former host of Misión Europa, Línea de Cuatro, and Futbol Central, and also a former soccer announcer for ESPN. Welcome, Tony Cherchi, onto This is Futbol.
Hi, guys. A pleasure to be with you. I wish you the best of success in this new chapter. I'm already a fan, so thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Let me take it from here. Antonio Cherchi. Antonio.
Mr. Rainier. How are you guys?
We're
So
good. We're
I
good.
just want to give you a heads up that I'm here as an Inter Miami insider because I was one of the few in the building for the last preseason game that they played.
You're
So
one of the lucky ones.
I just I can reveal just a couple of details
Is there
about that.
anything they don't want us to see? Because everything's closed doors. We
Well,
don't know any information.
I mean, they played one, the first one with fans on. The Vasco da Gama one, I think that one should have been on closed doors.
I
By
know.
the way,
Yeah, that was bad.
I
It was.
think they'll get better with time.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you saw yesterday? What can we expect out of
Tell
our
us what
team
you
this year?
liked. What
Yeah.
what what
What you
impressed
liked and
you?
what you didn't like.
Yeah.
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 I mean, well, to start, I would say that I was impressed with Montreal, which was the rival
Opponent.
team yesterday, and
Yeah.
they have a new coach, Hernan
Yeah.
Lozada. The guy was with DC United and went away in some particular circumstances. I mean, that's what has been reported, that he didn't get along with the players and stuff. But I was impressed with them because they have a new coach and they seem more worked on. You know, like they were more in rhythm playing against Miami, even though they have less preseason games. And in terms of what I saw in Miami, I saw a little bit of Joseph. I think he needs to get in rhythm also. And if he's, I don't know, 60% what he was in Atlanta, I think he's going to be great for Inter Miami because they need the goals. But what I'm curious about is who's going to be that link for him because I'm guessing him and Campana will play up front together. But we couldn't see that yesterday because Campana didn't play. He wasn't even a substitute. So that was I'm kind of wondering how that duo is going to work in the future.
Did you see any of the young guys? Any of the young guys that?
Yes, and I mean I couldn't keep track of them because they were a lot of changes. I can tell you about a little bit about the right back, the manager's son. I think his
Yeah.
name is
Neville?
Harvey
Neville?
Harvey
Neville?
Neville. Yes, I mean he was good at times. Kind of was left behind a little bit in a couple of plays from the defensive standpoint. But I mean, what I would my conclusion, the bottom line of what I saw yesterday is that Miami really needs to work on defense. And yesterday we couldn't see the I think what's going to be one of the best signings, which is the center back that's coming from Shakhtar. And I'm missing his name right now, but it's
Sergi Krivstov.
Christoph. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
And he's number one fan.
I mean, he's got a lot of experience. He's played a ton of Champions League games, international games with the Ukrainian national team. So I think that's going to be good because what I saw yesterday with Mavica and McVeigh playing as a two center backs, I mean, it wasn't pretty. So I think that they'll need to work in that area of their game, and also that this signing could help around that.
Yeah, and I want to ask you a quick question around something you were talking about the center backs and about Sergi. One of the rumors that I read over the last couple of days is we have a possibility of signing Sergio Ramos in one of our in the summer transfer window. And if that's the case, I'm wondering, why did this front office bring Sergi Krivstov in the first place? You mentioned he played a lot of Champions League games and all that, but I've done my research. This guy's been on Shakhtar for 13 years. He has just over 145 appearances, which, if you average it out, is about 12 appearances a year. Shakhtar probably averages around 30 games a year. So he might not play that many games. And that's why I'm willing to give him a chance, but I'm not so high on that signing as everybody else seems to be. And I would prefer to go into the season with McVeigh and Ryan Saylor as our starting center back pairing than, bringing in this 31-year-old player who we don't really know much about, who everybody says has played everywhere, but all the stats that I've seen, I mean, he really hasn't played. He's been on the national team for 11 years. He only has 30 appearances.
Well,
So
I think you have to judge him a little bit in terms of what you have. Also, so if you get a guy that has that kind of experience and is 31 years old, is not that old. I mean, I think he could help that defense. In
well, he
terms of
can't hurt. He can't
yes,
hurt.
it can hurt. Yeah, that's. I mean,
Well,
It
but
can't
we
get
don't
any
know.
worse.
We
to be
don't know yet.
honest, to
We
be
don't know
honest,
yet.
I'm not talking just about the preseason game that I watched yesterday. I'm talking about the whole last season, even
Right.
though they got better over the end. But I think that he could be helpful in that area. But talking about Sergio Ramos, I don't know if Sergio is willing to come to the MLS. If he is, he's what 35, 36 years
35.
old. So this is a very physical league, and a lot of guys that have come here, they had to learn it the hard way, And the best example that comes in mind is um, Pipita Higuain,
Higuain.
which
Sí.
he talked about that in I don't know what, the first month being in this league, and I think that sometimes that gets overlooked, when a player comes from another league. I mean, Sergio's playing for PSG, so he's playing Champions League level, but at the same time, he's not playing anymore for the national team, and it's not like Spain has a lot of center backs to choose from. I mean, like good center backs. So that should
Right.
tell you something about the level that Sergio Ramos is right now in his career. So
Well, and I know that he's a little bit older. And sorry, Rangel, I'll let you get in. Just one last question. But like you said, you mentioned he's 35 years old. But a player with the experience of playing on the national team, of winning a World Cup, of winning 2 Eurocopas, of winning a bunch of Champions League that he has, even at 35, I think with the mindset that he comes into the game, he plays the game a lot differently than
mean,
someone who might be a little bit younger.
he will be a leader for for
the leader
sure.
that we need, correct?
For sure, and he would be a threat going forward. That's
Right.
and that's something that Miami doesn't have right now with its defensive players. But since you had that argument on, I would mention just one name, Matuidi. You said World Cup winner. He was fresh off that World Cup winning, and I think it was.
Struggled a lot.
If you ask me, I think he was the worst
Signing.
of those marquee signings that Miami did.
I would disagree, but I would kind of agree. I would say he wasn't the greatest signing. I think he was misused in how we used him. But I think the worst signing that we ever had was Manuel Pellegrini. $10 million for a young DP who we had no idea, really what he was doing. We saw a few goals in Estudiante de La Plata. To me, that's my worst signing that Inter.
Well, that was overpaying for sure. Yeah,
correct. So Rangel, I took too much time, but it's all you.
But sometimes
No.
I get the point. But sometimes I may prefer a team that overpays for a young, promising player that overpaying for a player in his decadence. And I'm not saying that Matuidi at that time was given signs of that, but for some reason when he came here, he wasn't able to perform at that. Not even at the level that he was performing like months before at the national
right.
team, But yeah, so we'll see. They need to work a little bit on certain areas, and that defensive side is one of those.
Talking about those overpaid players that didn't make a splash into the Inter Miami, no pun intended. All right. Alvaro Justi on our comment section brings a good name, a name that all of us know. And Tony followed him last season in Rayados, our friend Rodolfo Pizarro.
Yes.
What to expect from Rodolfo Pizarro? I'm from the beginning, I never thought he was an Inter Miami kind of player signing. Needed. I get it, the Diego Alonso, the whole thing when he was signed and everything. But I just don't think for the type of team that Inter Miami is, or from Directiva, not from coach.
Yes.
He's back. He didn't do well in Rayados last season.
And that's why he's back.
That's why he's back, and that's why he hasn't left. And that's
Yeah.
why he hasn't left, because nobody is picking him up. So what do we do? What Inter Miami can do with him? What to expect since he's going to stay? Did you see him play?
Yeah, I mean,
What?
that's a very good question, Renier, because yesterday he was playing alongside Ulloa,
Mhm.
like in the midfield. So kind of a double five over there, which
So we played
I don't.
4-4-2-2
Yeah,
with
I
the.
mean, I saw kind of a 4-4-2
Okay.
with Joseph and Lassiter up front, and but Miami, I mean, regardless of the system, he was playing in a much defensive role than the characteristics uh, of his style of playing are. For me, ideally, he should be like a number 10 because of his skills. But he was tried on that position, like the season before last one, right? And he didn't perform. So I'm guessing that Phil Neville is trying to get him into a place where he can use it and where he can take advantage of some of his skills.
Yeah.
But yesterday, I mean, he got the ball and then tend to keep the ball for like
Too
2 or 3 or 5 seconds extra. So he was either fouled or he lost the ball. So I didn't see a great game from him. I still think I'm still a believer of his talent, but I don't know if Phil Neville is going to be able to find a place for him where he can flourish in this system.
I think that they made the decision with him having the number. He was our number 10 when he came in, and then now he came back, and number 10 was open, and they gave him number 20. Just a simple thought there that obviously he's not gonna be a main player.
That's his number though. That he's a 20 wearing kind of player, but he's a right back turned into a midfielder, turned into a forward, turned into. I get the whole idea why he never wants to put him in that doble cinco kind of role, because he has the most educated foot, and I guess the better idea to do with the ball. But we also see that he's a little bit of a ball hogger a bunch of times playing up top. So I don't see him playing in that role.
I mean, ideally, Renier, if you don't have Pozuelo anymore, which you don't have, and I think he was a great signing last season. That should be the guy filling in for that position, for Pozuelo. But for some reason, at least yesterday, I didn't see him playing that kind of football, that kind of soccer, trying to connect with the forwards, with the strikers. And I think that should be the best role for him in terms of his ability, because one of the best things that I think he has is he has vision and he has the ability to make that last pass. But it is true also that he didn't perform in that position before for Inter Miami. So we'll see when the season comes on.
At the level that he's playing, he's a player for the last 20 minutes of the game if we need him right now.
Maybe, yeah.
At this moment.
Yeah. I don't think he has the starting 11 position assured at this point. So, but he's also, I think he's in the last year of his contract. So when you're in that position, you're I don't know, extra motivated to play your best. So we'll see.
Or you just or you just write it out and get that check and leave.
Well, yeah, but then who's
still young, man?
Who's going to pay the next check? That's the thing.
Right. Yeah. So he's gonna have to do something. But I mean, Renier, you bring up a good point. You say that Pizarro, kind of waits too long with the ball, and he's kind of a ball hugger. It kind of reminds me of somebody else that I know playing on the field. Actually, we have a video.
Renier?
We have a video here of somebody talking about Renier. Let's see if we can get it up there.
How to play in big games. With the 10th pick, I've chosen Renier Rodriguez from Tudiene. He's pretty much the first one to react when news goes live about Inter Miami. So, I think he's going to be all over the field. He's going to be quick. He's going to be quick to everything.
Don't laugh.
Argentinian. He got Argentinian roots. So, again, getting our South Americans in there. We love it.
Hey.
With the 11th.
DeAndre Yedlin, he loves the South Americans.
Has he seen you play?
I said the same thing. I said the same thing.
Everybody has seen me play. That is here. Maybe Evan hasn't, but
No, I think so. I think I remember. I think I saw a photo of you the other day. I'm like, oh, that's who Rainier is. When you,
See, I'm
the hair,
famous in
the
this
hair.
circle.
So
You
that's
had
it.
hair.
I'm guessing I'll have to skip that media game. I was very eager to play in that one, or at least like to show up. But I'm waiting for the video, like really waiting for the video of that, because I know besides Renier, I know a couple of guys that will be showing up there. So
Well,
I
Chris
really
is gonna be there. Nacho Garcia is
I
gonna
really
be
need to
there.
see that
Couple
the
people that
highlights of that
we
game.
know.
Well, I hope they invite some of the TIF podcast folks on there next year, because I would love to play in a game like that. There's some folks on the other team who I'd love to play against, and they know that.
Personal
So
vendetta.
no,
There.
no vendettas, but it's just I love to play, and I love to play against other people. So it would just be interesting, to play other folks that do what we do. But I want to pivot off of the Inter Miami topic. I really want to get into this Apple deal because Tony, you're probably the closest one to this Apple deal. It can give us a lot of inside information. Just a few quick points. It launched on February 1st. And the subscription is going to be to fans in over 100 countries and regions. It's going to feature every single live game for the MLS for the entire season, every playoff game, and every League Cup game. Subscription fees are going to vary depending if you're an Apple Plus member or not. But really, one thing that I think is really cool is every single game is going to have an English and a Spanish broadcast crew. And if you're a Canadian team, you're also going to have a French broadcast crew. And I think that's awesome. I think that is fantastic.
Yes.
I'm not too happy about having to pay, but I think it's a fantastic deal for the MLS. I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's a win-win. I want your opinions, Tony, and maybe some inside information you can give us.
Well, yeah, I would add that description, which was very accurate. I would add that you will have those play-by-play guys and commentators in Spanish and English at the stadium. That's, for me, that's huge, because that's not the way that's been for the last, I don't know, 5 years at least, that you less and less see the journalists, the play-by-play guys, the commentators, the reporters traveling to the games. So for me, that's going to give the fan a different experience, and that's just one of the points of it. In terms of statistics, in terms of looks, in terms of we'll have the every game in 1080p, which was not the norm for MLS throughout the last seasons, with the different networks that carry the league. So for me, that those are advantages that the fan will have. And for sure, you will, if you want to have the majority of game, if you want to have all the games, you'll have to pay, which is maybe new to some folks, because I know that there was a service before from the MLS that was also paid, but this is going to be different. This is going to be the content around it, and you can start watching that already, because even if you're not subscribed right now, there's a ton of content right now on the MLS Season Pass app on Apple TV. So I think that it's gonna get better with time. That's also my view about it, because this has been also a struggle against time, because to be honest, we weren't expecting some of the things that happen on the road, but I think that I don't know. We're gonna start on March 25th, and I think we'll be more than ready by that time, which is 1 week from now, 10 days.
All right, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited. Again, I think it's a win-win, just because it was very hard for the local teams to get some of the local teams to get deals with their local with a local broadcaster or something. And so to have Apple kind of take every team under its umbrella, and I'm sure the deal is very lucrative for the MLS. And in terms of the media and the extra I guess things that we're going to have from the MLS, the extra graphics, the extra videos and stuff like that, I think that's where where the fans are going to win most. Is we're probably going to get a lot of extra interviews and things like that, behind the scenes footage that we would normally not get to see if we didn't have that kind of package with Apple.
Sure, and that's the thing, because with the regular networks that used to carry MLS, and I know Fox is going to remain the one like national network that's going to carry MLS games, but with them you always had limited time. That was one of the things, that you couldn't do as much in terms of pre-game, post-game, in-game stuff, because you were constrained to those time slots that were so valuable to either ESPN or Fox or whoever carried the league before. So now you don't have any neither time constraints or I don't know. This is, I mean, this is going to be for the league and for the fans of the league. So I think also is a win-win, either for the league, for Apple also, that really wants to get a little bit more deeper into sports, into live sports. They did already with some MLB games,
Yeah.
but this is going to be different, because they feel, and I'm saying this because I was in touch with a lot of people from Apple, and they really feel this is theirs too. They care a lot about this project, so that's going to be key in this. We cannot forget that 10-year deal. So
Yeah. So it's gonna be there for a long time, and hopefully, like you said,
Yeah.
it's successful and it gets better and better year over year, and that's all that we
But-
can expect.
yeah,
Another thing too is that Apple is gonna be, and MLS is gonna be working with the teams into creating more content too. There will be
Yes.
behind the paywall, but also not behind the paywall, and we'll see stories, features, and whatnot that will make fans connect, or some fans also reconnect with teams, or regain fans that maybe follow soccer but don't follow MLS, but they have access to Apple, and I think the whole idea of MLS coming as one in order to work into the whole feature stories and whatnot. I think it's also very cool that they're gonna do that, because again, telling stories within the team, and not only analyzing 4-4-2, 4-3-3,
Yeah.
or top score or bad game. I think that's also cool that MLS and Apple are also doing.
And you know what? To that point that you make, Renier, one of the key elements of this coverage that the league is going to get with this deal with Apple is that we really want to tell stories. We don't want to just deliver the games, just deliver the highlights, but we want the people, the fans, to get to know the players, to get to know the culture around every club, the rituals that those fandoms have in every city, and we're kind of leaving behind another factor that I think is key in this deal, that is that it for the MLS is going global, and maybe right now people is thinking, majority of people could be thinking, well, you know what, who's paying for the MLS in Spain, or who's paying for the MLS in Italy, and I think that's going to grow because of the storytelling, because every year some kind of a big player arrives in MLS. Either is in the middle of their career, either is in the last part of their career. But I think about a guy like Lorenzo Insigne. I mean, I don't think he's going to be the last of that kind of player getting into the MLS. And I know that Chiellini is on the later
Or
part of his
Bernardeschi,
career, but yeah, Bernardeschi and those kind of guys, and guys coming from Spain, either is, I don't know, Carles Gil or another guy, guys coming from Eastern Europe. So that's that adding to the global factor of Apple and the bunch of devices that they have scattered all over the world. I think that's going to give the edge to Major League Soccer in terms of getting the league known beyond the United States frontiers.
Right.
Well,
I
and
totally agree.
like
And
Apple taught us, you gotta believe, como decía Ted
Yeah.
Lasso.
Yeah.
there you
And
go,
I'm
there
I'm
you
I'm
go.
really you know what, I'm kind of in negotiations to maybe appear in, I don't know, last episode of last season of the last one, which is going to be the next one. So I'm talking to my agent about that. I really love I would really love to be, I don't know, Ted Lasso's assistant, like for the last match of the
La-
season. So
Oh, that would be. I mean,
Oh.
here you go. Tony is
Future
dropping.
career
Tony
path.
is dropping
go.
right here. He's
Go.
dropping it right here. He might make an appearance on Ted Lasso, so that's big news. That's big news.
Uh,
So let's. I
Believe.
want to get into the last topic here before we let you go, Tony.
Yeah.
We want to talk about predictions for this year's MLS 2023 season. So me and Ever and Renier, we all made our predictions on who was going to win the Supporter Shield, what the final was going to be, who's our MLS champion, and our prediction for Inter Miami this year. So I'll let Renier go first, and then
Okay.
I'll give you a little bit of time to think about it, Tony, because I
Okay.
know we just put
All
this
right.
on you. So I'll let Renier go first. So Renier, who's your Supporter Shield?
Austin FC.
Austin
Gonna
FC.
finish, yeah, gonna finish strong. I don't see LAFC going all the way like last year. I think the team now is worse. It was good last year. It's not the good this year. But I'm going Austin. I think solid team will make it all the way. Win Supporter Shield. I'll give you the final. Who they play against? For me,
All right.
Philadelphia Union. I like Philadelphia. I think it's a team not built around superstars. You know, it's a whole team, very compact. Leadership from Bedoya is there. I think Union Austin is going to be a final, and your new MLS champion. Congrats, Austin FC. That's my take on what to expect this season. And do I get my
Inter Miami
uh,
prediction?
Get the MVP. Since you're at it already, get the MVP. What's the score on the MLS Cup
MVP Rodolfo Pizarro? No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
No, Inter Miami will make it to our playoffs, but like this year, they'll be short-lived. Maybe 1 or 2 games. That's about it. I don't see, uh, unless somebody in the comment section, unless Messi comes and turns the team around, doesn't renew with PSG and comes here. I think there's a good. Honestly, there's not a good base. I don't think the team is built correctly in Inter Miami, but there's a good idea of where to go with the team, little by little. I think they'll make the playoffs. They'll play 2 games and call it a season.
All right, Ever.
I think I said it at the beginning of the show, but I'll
Yeah,
repeat it.
te
So
emocionaste.
hopefully people forget. So again, also Austin. I think Austin are going to win. I think they're going to go for it for all. They're going to win the Sports Shield. They're going to win the MLS Cup, and I think the final is going to be against Atlanta. I think Atlanta is a club that they lost a few players. They haven't brought much, but I think they have a good base with Luis Araujo, with Almada. I think Robinson is coming back from an injury, which is a great player too. So I think it's going to be a fight at the end of the season with Austin and Atlanta. And Inter, man, I'm going to be there. I'm going to go to most of the games as I can. I'm going to support. I'm going to try not to watch when they attack us. I think we attack, they score. That's the way I see it. So hopefully, man, we make it a playoff. I'm gonna choose to believe, Renier, and that we make it to playoff. But I don't see a team that will make it to conference semifinal or anything like that. So I think we're gonna suffer, and then we're gonna hope that if we win 5 straight games at the end of the season and make it to playoffs. Right now, maybe in the summer we make a few changes, we let go of some players and make some space for some good ones.
All right. What about you, Tony?
Well, I really like Atlanta also. I think a new year for Gonzalo Pineda.
A friend of ours.
A friend of, yes, a friend of my former employers, sorry. Yes, Araujo, Almada. I think the Robinson factor is going to be. We'll have to see how he is coming back from a tough injury, but I really like that team. I like Montreal also. Talking about teams that are not built around a star. I know they lost a couple of key players in Djordjevic, in Alistair Johnson also. But I liked what I saw yesterday. I know it was just a preseason game, but I think that's a team that can win the East. For me, it's either them or Atlanta, and I think that in the West, I do see LAFC having the edge still, even though they lost a couple of key players. And in terms of Inter Miami, I don't know what to say because I don't. I mean, they have that roster is not it's not completely built. I mean, they need a couple more players, but I think them having that DP spot free for now is telling me that they maybe that they're gonna do that splash signing that we're all waiting for, and that can turn the team around. So I'm gonna be faithful, and I'm gonna say conference semifinals.
All right. All
Ooh,
right. Well,
okay.
One
I
step
have
further than
I have my
last
supporter
season.
shield. My supporter shield is LAFC. My conference champs and my final is gonna be Seattle versus NYCFC. So I chose Seattle because I think this is their last season together as a team. I think Nico Lodeiro is gonna leave the MLS after this season. He'll go back to play in Nacional and finish his career. And we'll see what else what will happen with them. And for my champion is Seattle. That's what I'm saying. Seattle is my champion. I think Nico Lodeiro will raise a trophy one more time, and he'll go back to Uruguay as a champion and finish his career with Nacional, like I said. And my Inter Miami CF prediction is that it's like what you guys said, where it's an unfinished roster. If we can get those 2 or 3 pieces, I think we can get all the way to the final. I think we have that good of a team. I don't know if we're going to be coached that well, but I think we have that good of a team. I think we have players to get there. So, I'm really going to say quarterfinals. That's my prediction. So I'm going to say Inter Miami makes it to the quarterfinals, and then that's about it. So, but with that, we want to thank you, Tony. We want to thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it. We hope you can come back on for another show, maybe one of our shows on Friday where we do en español, solo en español. Y ahí
Awesome.
we'll get to talk to you again, maybe when the MLS season kicks off, and
Yeah,
we'll have
yeah.
some good news.
I would love to do that. And once we have a couple of shows wrapped up, well, we can talk a little bit more about this partnership with
adventure,
Apple. So yeah. Happy to be on. So thank you guys.
All right, thank you, Tony. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tony.
Tony, thank you so much for taking
Antonio.
the time.
Bye. Success for all of us.
Same to you,
And
man.
for you guys. And I really want to see that video of Renier playing in the media game. So please.
We want to see that too.
We'll have Tony Martinez around, so for sure.
Okay. So we'll have some cinematic, dramatic.
It'll be in
takes
slow mo,
on
so
that,
it'll be in
Yeah.
slow mo, so you can,
I don't know if that's a good thing, but
Hopefully they don't make it look better than what it is.
we'll see. Thank you,
All right.
guys.
All right,
All
take
right,
care.
have a good night.
All right, guys. I think it was a successful show. Apologize if I talk too much, but I really love all the topics that we talked about today. I was super excited to talk, and you can ask Nico later. But I've been talking to him all day about the show, and so I apologize if I took up a lot of your
No,
guys'
man,
time.
it's okay.
But
We still like you. We still love you, man. That's
all right, man.
So
You had to bring up Nacional. Like every show, you have to bring Nacional at
Somehow.
least once.
somehow,
It's incredible, man. Even though
happens.
you're wearing a Peñarol shirt,
No,
like
it's-
Portofino, whatever you want to say.
Portobello
Portobello.
Football Club.
Portobello.
Yeah.
Nah,
So, but all right, guys, thank you so much for joining us on episode 7. We'll have another episode, I think, tomorrow, which is
Tomorrow.
all Spanish episode. I'll actually be back in Miami tomorrow. I'm still on my trip. I'll have some interesting names for you guys tomorrow that I got on my trip. Some U20s from Ecuador, Argentina, Uruguay, and Colombia. Something that maybe Inter Miami could take a look at. But I'm excited to share some names, and I'm excited to talk to you guys tomorrow.
I'll be in dry pink on Tuesday, so pass me the names. I'll give it to my coach, DeAndre Jetlin.
All right.
Nice.
I'll definitely.
he would like some Argentines. He loves the South American blood.
Yeah,
so,
you already saw her. You
Yeah.
already saw he
That's what
wants
I'm
him
saying.
there.
So-
I'll give you my highlights from 20 years ago, probably. Not from today.
Don't give them the highlights from last week. Huh?
I know, man.
That free
What a
kick,
disaster.
that free kick still hunts me.
I know, man.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us again on This is Futbol. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.
Entrando a la cancha con toda la tropa, como 11